Hey everybody, Tony Fonte here, and welcome to another episode of Tony TV, the place to come to get more tips on how to create a new beginning and a life you love. This week in this episode, I want to talk to you about self-talk, what we say and what we think to ourselves, because it's very important to understand that everything we say to ourselves becomes who we are. It programs who we are. A lot of people don't think this is the case, but there's so much research behind it that fulfills what we say to ourselves. So what we say and what we think to ourselves, we become. Our minds are a huge, huge computer. So let's take a computer, for example. So when you programming into a computer, I'm not a programmer, but I do know this, that when you program code into a computer, it believes it. It runs on what it's told. It doesn't care if it's true or not. It follows it. It says it does what it says it's supposed to do. So when you tell it something, it does it. The same thing is with our brain. Our brain is the most powerful supercomputer in the world, in the universe. So when we say something to ourselves, we are essentially programming that in. That is becoming our programming. Where does the majority of our programming come from? Most of it comes from when we were little kids, when we're growing up, from our teachers, from our parents, from our peers. Everything we're told, everything we know, everything we feel and believe about something, most of it comes from growing up. It also comes as we were growing up, as we're moving forward in life and becoming more mature and growing up, the things we say, the things we experience, the things we feel, all because of what we feel, because of what we say to ourselves and what we just agree with. That all becomes ingrained into us and becomes who we are. So when we talk to ourselves, we need to be careful what we say, because what we say to ourselves enough, over and over and over, we will begin to believe. Again, it doesn't matter what we tell ourselves or what we tell our brains, it does what we tell it. For example, let's say, I'm not good enough. Guess what you're going to get back? You tell your brain, your mind, I'm not good enough times, it will go out and seek things that will fulfill I'm not good enough. If you're constantly saying, I am broke, guess what? The mind's going to go out and make sure that you remain broke. It's going to find things that make you broke. If you say, I always find the wrong person, or this woman or this man, you're going to have the same thing. Even the littlest things is, I'm not good with names, or I'm horrible on tests. Whatever you tell yourselves, it will become a fulfilling prophecy. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will. So we got to watch what we say, even those little things. How we feel inside is what we attract back. No matter what we're showing on the outside, what we feel on the inside is exactly what we're going to attract back to us. We attract back like things. We send out energy, we attract it back. So no matter what we are trying to change on the surface, if we do not get down to the meat of it, to our programming, we will never, ever move ahead fully. You may see some change, but you will always end up right back where you're at. And that was true for me for the longest time. That was so true for me. I wanted certain things. I was constantly saying certain things to myself. I want this, I want this. I would change actions, I would change feelings. But here's how the whole system works. Our programming creates our beliefs. Our beliefs create our attitudes. Our attitudes create our feelings. Our feelings create actions, and our actions create results. We all want results. We all want different results. We want certain results in our lives. We want to be significant. We want to be abundant. We want so much for our lives. We have a purpose for ourselves. Each one of us has a unique purpose. We want to fulfill that. But if we're just focusing on actions and we're focused on feelings and we don't get to the root cause, we're never going to have lasting change in our lives. As you see, I already said this, that programming, behaviors, programming beliefs, behaviors, attitudes, then goes to our feelings, then goes to our actions, goes to our results. If we don't get to the root, we'll never have lasting change. And this is what was going on in my life. I would have some change because I was taking some actions, different actions, but eventually I would go back right to where I was because I did not change what was going on inside of me. And I struggled and I got frustrated so many times until I figured out this. And I'm going to share with you a couple good tips and how you can change what you say to yourself and become more aware of that so you can change, so you can move forward. So let's dive in to the 2 tips that are going to help you transform and change how you say to yourself so you can move forward. Okay, the first tip is to increase your awareness, your self-awareness. Know what you're saying to yourself. You can't fix anything until you really know what's going on. You can never truly fix anything or change anything until you become aware of it. You don't know any challenges you're having until you become aware of it. Sometimes it's from someone else, sometimes it's going through a hard time to make you see it. So you can't fully understand what thoughts you're saying or to yourself, or I should say what thoughts you're having and what you're saying to yourself without becoming aware. I would recommend taking at least 24 to 48 hours to really focus on what you say to yourself. Is it mostly negative? Is it mostly positive? Is it a mixture? Were you surprised at some of the thoughts you were having and some of the stuff you were saying? You need to understand this. Before you can move forward, you have to understand and know what you're being said, what you're saying to yourself. So 24 to 48 hours, make sure that you're checking yourself. That's not going to be easy. It's just like working out. It's going to take time to really understand. It may feel awkward. It may not be consistent at first, but the more you try it, the more you practice it, the more aware and the better and easier it will become. And at some point, as you continue this path, it'll become almost unconscious that you're actually aware of it. As soon as you're having something that is not in line with who you are and what you want, you go, whoa, that's not positive. That's not who I am, and you can immediately change it. The second tip is to take that negative self-talk, and start with the top 10 that you have, that you've created when you're doing your self-awareness check. Take the top 10, but take any negative thought. Get rid of the negative thought. Take that negative thought, throw it out. But you can't just leave it empty. You have to replace it, or that negative thought's going to come back. So what you do is you take that negative thought, throw it out, and you reverse it. You do the exact opposite. So if you have a negative, you change it with a positive. So if you don't feel that you're good enough to achieve something, to do something, good enough for more money, whatever it is, just say you don't feel good enough. You can change that to, I am good enough, and I get better and better every day. Another example, money. I'm always broke. We can switch that to, money comes to me easily and effortlessly. I am a money-making machine. I have all that I need and more. Something along those lines. Make sure it's you, it fits you, whatever your situation is. Take each one and reverse it. Make sure that it is specific. You don't want to have vague, or you're going to have vague results. And make sure that it is in the present tense, as if you already have it. The brain does not know the difference between what is real and what is not real. All it knows is what you are telling it to do, and it does what you tell it to do. In the beginning, you will not see drastic changes in the beginning. It takes time. You have to continue to strengthen that muscle. But as you tell yourself, and you get your intensity, and you get your feeling and your body involved, and there's a direct connection with body and your emotion and your state and how you're saying it when you're saying this stuff, to get lasting change. If you get all that involved, you will create change faster, but it's not going to happen overnight. So be good with yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself when it's not working right away. You're not seeing the change right away. But do it consistently, at least 3 times a day, every day, and watch what happens after even a couple weeks. You'll start seeing some change. Now I want to turn this over to you. Now I want you to share your comments, what you forgot from this video, but I also want you to share your own techniques for self-talk that you've learned, that you've experienced yourself. What's worked and what hasn't worked. There's going to be a lot of people that watch this and read these comments, and your unique experience is going to make a difference. So share that with them. And the best experiences happen over at TonyFonte.com. So head over there and leave a comment there. Check out the rest of the great stuff there as well. Looking for more resources to create a new beginning in a life you love, plus some extras that I only share in email? Make sure that you sign up for my email updates at TonyFonte.com. Your journey is unique to you, and you have a special gift that the world needs. So don't quit, because it's never too late to have a new beginning in life. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time on the next episode of Tony TV.